slips through, and with LeBlanc gone as well, I'm wondering what answers Xiaohu actually has into it, because it feels like that static Shiv LeBlanc is one of the few things that I've seen, if not inside the lane answer it, on the side lane create so much pressure that the Nico doesn't really get to do too much in the team fights against that side lane pressure that the LeBlanc puts down.
But I'm curious here, are you talking about like the Kai'Sa big priority pick? Weibo going to lock that in quick smart. Weiwei has been pulling up the Sejuani as junglers left available, Arna's appealing. But Jamada, Renekton's up. They've banned Jax. As much as they want to flex around this pick, they are going into YSCam, and as we talked about, it could be an explosive match up top. Regardless, I feel like TheShy is gearing up for a Renekton game while they're trying to goat IG's top laner into pulling up something spicy as, hang on a minute, Nocturne this early ain't what we expected.
Definitely not. Nocturne. Ooh, Arch
No
Draven.
way.
And then if they go towards this Draven here, 1-to-1 into the Kai'Sa in the laning phase, solid matchup, right? You know you're going to always have pressure. I would imagine then Wink is starting to look at things like the Blitzcrank, right? His very specialized pick, looking for the kill lanes, and trying to ensure that you can really get this Draven going. Nautilus is obviously the other big one, and I think it was IG that we saw when they started to pick up a couple of wins after their massive loss streak, where it was things like Nocturne Nautilus, where you turn off the lights, the depth charges on one target, and then, you know, Nocturne dives in. It's very hard to defend that target. We'll see how Weibo actually try and answer this one out. It's going to be Tristana in the mid lane, so trying to kind of answer out the early pressure that Nico can put down with some wave clear. And of course, later on in the game, it means you've got 2 AD carries, solid DPS. Always, if you lose one of them, you know you're still going to have a very good player to just kind of sit around and ensure you've got a consistent level of DPS coming out.
Yeah, look, again, kind of fun to see, you know, a meta like this where we are getting a bit more flexibility and more DPS carries moved into roles that maybe we didn't expect. As I'm still waiting for the day that TheShy brings that Tristana topside. I know it's not meta at the moment, Jamada. I know with mid you get so much lane control, but dude, when TheShy's on the Rift, I just don't know what to expect. I don't know if Kalista top is suddenly going to make her way back as well. But I'll hold off on that because right now, irrelevant with top lane carries being taken off the board. This is what we're talking about. Tanks, Franks, all left on because it's Camille against YSCam. It's the Rumble against TheShy, which historically he's played a little bit of course. But now as we start taking supports off the board, I'm just wondering what's coming on for Weibo and if they're going to decide to leave counterpick for top.
That is the big question, right? I feel like support counterpick when Draven is in the game is so important. Rumble, I expect Cassante here from IG to be also banned away. And then at that point, I feel like TheShy has to just default to the Renekton. Oh, okay. So IG removed the Renekton themselves. Perhaps to actually goad TheShy into going towards the Cassante. And then we'll see YSCam actually have a counterpick. I feel like if you're Weibo, you're kind of stuck in two places here. Support counter matchup, super important for the bottom lane, but also in terms of, you know, the top side matchup and the YSKM being, you know, a pretty audacious player, you want to hold on to R5 for TheShy, and it seems like Weibo will do just that. They're going to go towards the Rakan, so it's 2 facets of engage, and then TheShy will likely lean on that R5, and we'll see whether or not it's a very aggressive lane pick, or, like you mentioned, it's just the Malphite or the Ornn.
This is already shaping up to be one of my favorite drafts of all split. Like, I'm sitting on the edge, waiting for a potential Blitzcrank for Wink. I mean, the 2v2 is exciting enough with Kai'Sa Rakan versus Draven with a bit of an engage and pick potential. But now, let's see what's up in that top side. What is YSCam going to flex around? Is it just going to be a tank? Because I know Cassante's open here, Jamada, but
I think
the amount of time
Fiora. Yeah,
oh, you reckon he will?
Yeah,
Do
I
it.
reckon he's gonna blind Fiora.
He's nodding. He's saying lock it in. He's saying lock it in. He nodded. That's it.
Oh, this guy, man. I love him so much. Now it's about what TheShy's gonna play because
Don't pick Malphite.
You know, Cassante is obviously a rough bar lane matchup. There are windows where you can win it. Ornn is out of the question now. Malphite is kind of the only tank up left, right? But do you want to be playing Malphite in a game like this? I feel like, yeah, something like the kind of makes a lot of sense. You're lacking on the AP side of things. Yes, Kai'Sa can obviously go the hybrid versions of the builds, so could see that. Or we could get
loves this.
TheShy Nah. So this is still going to be a relatively skill-expressive matchup on the top side, where TheShy has that range advantage, but certainly YSKM will find windows to look for those all-ins, because that's just the player that he is. So this is still going to be a very exciting top side matchup. It's not necessarily full carry versus full carry, but it is 2 side lane threats against one another that can certainly have a strong teamfight presence if the game demands it. So I am super excited for this game and for that top side matchup specifically.
I just love coaches. Like, as TheShy smile, this little smile, and he picks Nah. They look at each other, then look at him like he's obviously influenced this. He's like, no. We're taking the Nah here as well. You get part of the melee matchup in topside as Sejuani doesn't have too much to go off outside of that, but Jamada, I mean, we've got a lot of pushing power. We've got a lot of all-in, a lot of ult buttons, I think, for Weibo that's worth mentioning. And that feels like that's how they want to operate some of these fights and get this game rolling.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're kind of waiting maybe for 2 items almost, but you can still look to contest if the, circumstances are right. At the end of the day, Sejuani and Rakan provide so much CC that Tristana is certainly going to be able to blow up a target if she dumps all of her spells into them. And also, Kai'Sa's always going to be able to follow up in a dive herself. So I feel like for Weibo, there's always options. For IG, it's definitely a little bit more nuanced to a point because you've got, sort of a whole bunch of pick tools and then the side laning Fiora, right? So if you let the game go on too long as Weibo, YSKM theoretically should just take over the side lane in the 1v1, though there's always going to be windows again for TheShy to answer out. And then it's about creating pockets of fog, turning off the lights, and making Blitzcrank super scary and never knowing where not only the Blitzcrank is going to be, but also where that Pot Blossom is going to come from.
Overloading sides and using those tools you just mentioned, it feels like for IG, it's definitely going to be an interesting game, number 1, with the comps provided. Looking forward to this, even though IG are already out, even though we've already got our top 10, this series with Weibo versus IG, this should be a riot. We should be upset, amused, angry, euphoric, all in one series as we get the best out of some of these players. 2 MSI champions going head-to-head as well. 2 old RNG members who have found a new area. As that fan, man, he rioted with something that sounded like a Sooning. Well, I don't know where he went with it, but the shouts are real in Shanghai.
Yes, they are. And important thing to note above everything else in this series, YSKM is using the TheShy skin, which I find very hilarious. And he's even gonna cheese him.
Oh my god.
Find out the bone plating. He didn't actually hit the he didn't actually get to hit the passive, so he didn't get a little bit of extra movement speed maybe for a slightly stronger and prolonged trade, but yeah, very nice amounts of, I can't say the first word, but housery. And if you're from England, you'll know what it means. That's a good knock here from Chris.
Dude, Australian as well as a second skin comes through. Hook back on in onto Chris. They're going to try again, but onto Arn. He's got a low health bar. The flash forward. Light might just kill him. It's going to be a 1-for-1. Don't care about the adoration with no CS, but it means that Light gets to stay in lane. And these are big waves here if he can shove it in.
Yeah, I mean, it's level 1, right? Both these waves crashed in. Don't forget with the changes to those side lane waves, like the second wave is already there, right? So we'll see whether or not that has an impact on whether or not Light can actually get this wave crashed in or not. It seems like he's going to certainly shove it in for sure, but it's going to crash maybe just outside the tower. So in the long run, this might actually be a bad thing for Light. It's Crisp that starts off this engage, and you have to remember, once he W's in, they're level 1. They can't just dash back out. Gets hit by the rocket grab, and then because the glacial organ is slow, it keeps him in place for a little bit longer than perhaps he should be. Ward comes in, on gets the auto attack down, and he's able to pick up first blood. A little bit more gold technically than Light, so we'll see how or whether or not that actually has an impact in terms of getting to that first item ASAP. As loads of different build paths always available for Draven, whereas Light on the Kai'Sa, typically we're seeing just a static shiv, which is certainly a cheaper first item than a couple of the other AD carry items on the table.
Yeah, especially when we've seen, just on the side note, like AD builds have been peculiar because it's only been in games where we've seen, mages mid. Jamada, it's been games where we've had flexible AP carries towards this mid lane. But this game is Tristana, and every Tristana game so far, under my recollection, has been that AP Kai'Sa with shift. As Wink this time with the hook down bot side to reiterate this 2v2 lane. Will find a hook, but to not much avail. Now, Arn didn't miss much CS here, Jamada. As the wave shoves out, there's a little bit more for Light, but he's in a decent position now, coming back, having not missed much with the longsword and extra damage. I will be able to make this a stronger 3v3 as Tianzhen spotted out as well.
Yeah, I mean, Draven generally just deals so much more damage in the early stages with those spinning axes, so having the extra longsword, whilst Light hasn't actually based yet, just gives him that extra edge. Tianzhen is going to pick up this Skull Crab pretty freely, and I imagine just because Cryin's teleported back recently, if he wants to go through the mid lane and pick up that top side Skull too, he can. It might be a bit rough because TheShy does have first move, but weiwei is not really interested. He's taking his second rotation Raptors. That's where he started the game at. So should just be double scar for Tianzhen. Maybe weiwei decides to try and contest it, but I imagine the answer will be no. But maybe Tianzhen is a little bit more focused on ganking his top side.
TheShy trying to shove the wave in. This is disrespect. I mean, they saw that he was somewhere near, but it's just timing. Everything here is TheShy has nowhere to go. YSCam might be getting a freebie here as Tianzhen walks up. TheShy's dead to his counterpart. YSCam puts the thumbs up as well. The salt.
Oh gosh, I mean, I like this from Tianzhen though. I need to double check whether or not weiwei actually saw Tianzhen walk up the way he did, whether or not he saw them go into the river, because my only assumption here is that TheShy imagines that he has more time to push out that wave and make it crash, right? Because he's expecting Tianzhen to actually be on the skull ahead of the topside gang, but obviously he skips it, so finds the kill. Maybe the replay will show it off. Yeah, the observers know as well, because if they see Tianzhen...
Oh, you know he's pathing up that way. And also, you see on the minimap, you see the ward spotted too.
So it's a bit of a tough call. I think once the vision plant gets popped, that should obviously be the the big dead giveaway, but maybe no one notices it, right? And that can certainly happen at the end of the day.
weiwei went mid. Like, surely at that point you start walking top.
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very curious sequence that, TheShy's not being covered up here, but what's happening?
Grand challenge, flash, hang on. Yeah, TheShy burning his own as well. He doesn't have ult, he doesn't have Mega Gnar yet, and YSCam is feeling himself.
You can tell how thirsty he is for this 1v1, man. He wants it. Yeah. Like, at every opportunity he can, he's just going to put pressure on TheShy. He's up CS. There's a big wave crashing in, right? So TheShy's going to have an opportunity to catch back up, but still, YSCam putting down the pressure, and those are always the windows, right? When Gnar is in mini as the Fiora, where you can really kind of look to pretty much one-shot him, to be honest with you.
Yep.
All it takes is, 1 or 2 Viaprocs before you get that grand challenge off to then obviously get 4 additional ones and the chase down. So we'll see how he continues to pilot that lane, YSCam, because right now he's having a really good time with it.
I think what we can say about this early game so far is that IG having a good time all around. Like the topside gang, the bot trade, seemingly an advantageous play for Arn and Wink, considering that Flash was never punished. And Arn has it back up in about 10-15 seconds. He's also 10 CS in the lead, as you'd expect from this Draven lane with serrated Dirk available. So Jamada, IG are pushing their advantage. They're pushing those lane leads. Now on top of Dragon, trying to threaten Weibo to come into their territory.
Yeah, exactly. Just saying, hey guys, do you want to fight? Do you want to come in to the river here and get hooked in and then get feared and then die? That's basically it. Crisp is watching this Dragon go down, first person view. It should exactly be that. It should be going down to IG. I feel like as Weibo, you just don't want to contest this right now. It feels like a bit too much of a steep hill. We'll go over. Weiwei went up towards his topside camps. He gave up about 10-20 seconds ago. And that will be a very clean early Dragon for IG. And again, one thing that I always like to talk about, because I feel like they're always super important when it comes to side lane champions and having to always show up at Dragon fights. If you pick up the first Dragon as a split pushing team, you feel great, because then as Fiora, you're going to have an additional 5 minutes in this game to scale up and not have to be demanded to show up at any given Dragon team fight. So this is a huge pickup for IG in the longer term of things as well.
Ooh, as Tianzhen has ulti available, that paranoia. I mean, speaking of utilizing side lane and now a bit more mobility with that objective, Tianzhen with his first ulti up and available might be able to set up for the Herald as Cryin with the flash paranoia, tanking on the Xiaohu. IG, if they played like this, man, this team would have gone to Worlds. Where is this coming from?
Maybe. Oh,
YSCam is dead. I mean, we need a couple more vitals, but he's going to be facing the wrong way. YSCam just gets bopped on the way out, but that's the second time the ulti has forced TheShy to go away.
Yeah, that was also so cheeky. I've never seen that happen with a Fiora ultimate before. QW, very common mechanic, but I actually popped 2 vials at the same time, right? The lunge, the left side one, and a riposte, the bottom side. So TheShy was immediately put under a whole bunch of pressure. I don't know why we're looking down here. We know that IG's bottom lane is here.
Well, I guess they're going to get free shove because Light and Crisp, yeah, they made the move. So that's why Herald actually went over to the side of weiwei as bit of revenge served in YSCam without that ulti. TheShy about to go mega. And it's a push and pull up in top side as our observers are now showing.
Yeah, exactly. Like you mentioned, Weibo had that first move up there, Light and Crisp. We knew Arn and Wink weren't moving. Herald, because of that, does go over to Weibo, and they're immediately putting it down here in the mid lane. Trying to look for a dive on Cryin, no flash.
And they find it as well. Crispin immediately with his own ulti out. Xiaohu with the perfect damage ratio as now Wink joins in the fray. Chris blocks up as weiwei almost dies to the last turret shot. They get some return damage on the Blitzcrank, but in melee range, Tianzhen whacking away, matches the flash. Xiaohu is getting cleaved by your worst nightmare. Tianzhen finally showing us what we were promised.
Yeah, this guy pops off here in the mid lane. W, the spell shield blocks out on that knockup from Crisp, and it just gives him more attack speed with the lethal tempo stacking up to run Xiaohu and Crisp down. Wink sees the angle for the flash, so he gets 2. So now, this Nocturne, 3-0-1, super powerful, gonna have a stride breaker really early on in this game. Could mean that the ability to attack those side lanes super strong. I think actually going onto this dive, the reason why they're so happy to do it as well, no W, right? Maybe Cryin has an extra second or so if he's able to pop the W underneath this tower. Well, it's about this rundown here, right? I mean, Tianzhen, let's see how much attack speed he ends up with, to be honest with you, because he's got lethal tempo stacking up. He blocks the knockup with the W, which obviously gives you more attack speed. So he's got 162 AD and almost 2 attack speed, like 10 minutes into the game. That is absurd amounts of damage to have access to right now because the Duskbringer as well on the floor. So huge, huge rundown. And there you go. Stride Breaker's already on the table 10 minutes into this game.
And Stride Breaker, when he's on top of someone, I mean, it is just egregious. Jamada, it is an egregious first game here from Tianzhen in such a great way as Cam now going to take this 1v1 grand challenge out again, but TheShy is running towards him. These top laners getting frisky once more. But further to the point, despite what's going up in this top side, I mean, it's still IG with the gold lead. It's almost 2,000, and they are playing like a team possessed now that they're out of playoffs. I mean, Weibo, I guess, struggling with the pace in this early game.
Oh, I like this from Tianzhen. I was going to say, you've got Fiora. I want to see you give it the time and the resources, jungle resources that is, to actually set it up for even more success, right? That early gank was, I would honestly go as far as saying a bit of an anomaly, right? TheShy shouldn't have really given that opportunity over. But now that you've got the Stride Breaker, Mini-Gnar is ridiculously easy to kill in a 2v1. So I hope that they start to look towards that, right? But at the same time, if you're IG, another dragon wouldn't hurt, right? You've got this Draven on the bottom side. He's super strong. He's been stacking since minute 1. And maybe
now
it's like they hear us.
Oh god, playing with his flash. I mean, Wink was hoping he'd get a summoner, but Light with a good kite down. I guess that's who you're relying on in this game, right? When you talk about bot being strong for IG, on the other side, let's not forget to mention that Light has been one of the most consistent players this split, even last split as well. I think we could have suited Light's horn a little bit more.
Yeah,
he has been, I guess, the miracle worker in times of trouble for WBG. Hang on. Jamada, maybe, am I speaking too early? The all-in, but the Paranoid in the back end. The Light repositions onto Wink, now onto Arn. It will be a trade with Adoration seeping deep. Tianzhen following up, and it's lethal tempo o'clock. But Jamada this time, as the Whirling Death helps out, he gets the 2.2. IG switched on, and Weibo out of control.
Yeah, Nocturne is really running these fights, isn't he? And Light had to reposition. Well, I'm not sure if he had to reposition like that, right? Ends up in Arn's purview. And gives him an extra 700 gold.
Again, he flashes. Grand challenge, but against the wall under the turret. It's one too many. TheShy now running for his life against this kill. But Cam survives once more as Cryin versus Xiaohu erupts. But ultimately, we keep going top because we think something's going to happen. But it's everywhere else. There's but oh my god, that should not be legal.
Oh my god. Wait, so I think so. Got caught by the root. Managed to then rocket jump out of the queue, and also I think the knock up at the same time. That looked really, really funky. Either way, Arn cashed in 765 gold. So to say he's huge would be a bit of an understatement. Great flash from Light away from the rocket grab, but then Weibo as a whole, they make the snap decision to actually peel for Light, but then Light dashes in instead of like peeling back with his ultimate. So a little bit of miscommunication there. Oh, hello.
Wisecape's gone forward, but Crisp is here. I mean, this time he's been rused in, even with a low health bar. Needs permafrost, and he's alive. I mean, this guy just isn't dying.
Yeah. He's chilling, man. He's all good. Don't worry about it.
Feeling it.
He's fine. Yeah, this is great. I love this from IG. So I guess they got that second dragon as well. So again, when we're talking about side laners having time, man, on the side lane, Weibo are 4 dragons away. That's 20 minutes worth of waiting. So IG are always now, at this point in the game, going to have a very easy time, right? Having WiseKM be on the side of a map where he can just get across map in 24/7. And that's something that Weibo are going to have to answer for basically the rest of the game. Hextech Soul as well. IG can keep this snowball going. Bear in mind, it's a 3k gold lead, Jake. This could be a situation where you end up as on 4 dragons as IG with the best snowballing dragon in the game as well.
It's just crazy watching this game play out. I mean, IG, from start to now that we've had this experience, and it's been such controlled play, but also such energetic play. I feel like the all-in nature of this comp, we knew it was going to be an exciting game, but IG have played it so well. Now we just got to see how they round it out, how they can continue the snowball. As you talked about, side lane is important, but we also have to mention one of their mid tools, one of their important early game tools in Arn is also fed. Arn on this Draven. Probably a weird experience for TheShy to go up against Draven when Jackulov was the OG, really the only one who would play it. But Arn's going to give him a refresher as he's almost 2 items from that last cash in Jamada. He got about 1,100 gold in total. 700 plus the 300 or 400 from the kill. So this man is giga-fed.
Yes, he is. So I'd like to see IG move him around the map a little bit, outside of just the mid lane. On the top side right now.
Can you dive this? I mean, even 2v1, I don't think you touch this.
There's a good chance that WiseKM turns this into a mountain as... Ooh.
Okay. Ulti. Weak. Oh, he flashes for that as well. Ulti hits him and WiseKM picks up the kill. Xiaohu had flash, but he couldn't burn it, man. That's disrespect.
It's just so cheeky, isn't it? Like, WiseKM going forward there with the W finds the slow, and it means that Wink can just flash in again, get him lock up, and ensure that Xiaohu's not going anywhere. And the kill goes over to WiseKM too, so now he's 2-0. A decent amount of CS this time in the game, considering he was into a ranged matchup, right? And is on his way, likely to a second item very quickly. And again, those items, whilst expensive, if he's being snowballed ahead and they start to come in really quickly, TheShy is going to kind of be left in dust, and he's going to struggle to actually match up in the 1v1.
Of course he is. I mean, he was already struggling before. Despite the 1v1s not ending in a kill, TheShy was getting bullied out as... Let's look back at WiseKM. As you said, cheeky from Wink to just hover and fog of war and wait for his moment.
Yeah, so WiseKM also just on the micro, trying to block out the damage on the explosive charge and maybe catch the buster shot in that riposte at the same time. Xiaohu obviously didn't pull the trigger until quite late, and with that hover from Wink, the slow from the riposte made it real easy to get on top of Xiaohu, considering he just didn't commit the rocket jump for a really long time, and by the time he tries to, dies.
Well, now we're going to see how Weibo actually play out this mid game, because as you're alluding to, side's going to get really difficult with this Fed Fiora, but more importantly with the fact that they can give numbers at any time. Jamada, we've mentioned the Nocturne, he's level 11 with his Paranoia, almost 2 items as well, and he's got a Herald to push some tempo. Guess where he's going to look to go? I wonder.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's where he is right now. And again, carry top side, right? Split pushing, you've got Nocturne. Just overload those side lanes with numbers, right? 24/7. If you know where Weibo are and you can commit that Paranoia to the side lane whilst the Dragon isn't going to be spawning up, I think that's always going to be a positive trade for you. Right now, though, IG want to continue this Dragon snowball. They know that WiseKM's got pressure up here in the top side consistently. TheShy is actually walking down, so he's going to elect to basically yield this tower up here in the top side, because you know WiseKM's immediately going to start hitting it. Herald's been put down, so IG pressure in 2 lanes, and the longer WiseKM is allowed in the top side. Disengage is happening.
Tianzhen's caught out though as they burst them down, but Arn just runs into the middle and finds the first kill. Now Xiaohu's here, but TheShy still not in the Meganar for the majority of the fight. It was good setup, but Jamada, the damage didn't fly through, and IG still have their jungler alive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Tianzhen is quite low though, so... Oh, they got him!
He flashes over the wall though, weiwei. 1 in from dying, and Arn matches that flash in your face. This Draven is ready to catch in again. Was WiseKM pops the ulti, and IG, where was this? Where was this at the start of the split? You guys are literally rocking an 8-pack today.
I think, like you said, they're spiritually being possessed by IG 2018. Right now, Weibo need to find an answer, and they need to find it soon. Teleport's here.
Cryin gonna lock him down though. I mean, Xiaohu ran it a little bit as WiseKM gets a kill and flashes out. Now TheShy's here, but there's no Meganar.
Oh,
Weibo,
no.
what are you doing? Running to their death. IG, the spirit animal of TheShy as well. as he runs against his old organization, and you have to ask the question, where are they now? Where the hell are Weibo? They're dead.
To speak in Twitch chat terms, TheShy more like the four, alongside the entire Weibo right now, kind of being run over by IG. These team fights have not been favorable. This is a nice attempt to catch out here onto Tianzhen, but the fact that he's able to get out of it, right? Knock up comes through into the stun from Cryin, it's huge. Cash in again, I think it was about 600 gold almost from Arnold's Crisp, is huge. And then IG has, come out of the replay.
Oh, it's coming back, it's coming back, it's coming back, it's coming back. Where is it? Is it coming back? I guess not. It just flew off the face of the earth. That was the whirling death that came out that TheShy almost died to. But it is a 7k gold lead, by the way. Dragon Soul, by the way. And YSKM having a field day. Man, this as much as Weibo can be an exciting roster, the fact that we're getting this IG not only hurts my soul, you know, when they're already out of playoffs, but the fact that they can look this good when Tianzhen was hyped up, they had Cryin as a really stable member of the roster. Arn and Wink were a great 2v2 in spring. In fact, you know, one of the most aggressive.
Yeah.
YSKM hitting the mark as well. I mean, Jamada, it just doesn't make sense to me, but I'm loving it, at least to show us what 2024 can handle.
Yeah, I really hope that IG can hold on to this full 5 here, as Crisp is going to be fine. Bit awkward, dance around one another. But I do agree, right? I think there's a lot of promise in so many of these players, right? We've waxed lyrical about YSKM enough, but I feel like 100%, you know, players like Arn and Wink, I hope they are, you know, held here on the roster and they don't really want to go anywhere. As I feel like Cryin and Tianzhen starting to kind of form a duo as a...
on his skin, on his skin. You can't do this to the man on his own skin, YSKM. It's his skin, brother. It's TheShy's ordering. Oh! Give the skin back, he says. TheShy managers.
Says, I'm the reason why that skin even exists. Puts him in the dirt. I mean, yeah, YSKM struggled for so long to actually find that vital on the right-hand side, and then by the time that it despawned, gave him another one, he just couldn't proc it in time to get the extra bit of healing. Massive 1v1, and 700 shutdown gold as well goes over to TheShy. It's towers with the bounty as well on top of it. This is a huge gold swing, at least in that 1v1. Back over towards TheShy that he's going to be able to use to actually stave off YSKM.
That was impressive. That's all I need to say. That was impressive from TheShy.
Oh, yeah.
And look, Jamada, even though some gold in their pocket, they're still down at death's door. The difference is we know that this comp is going to play from more angles, play more for the 5v5. We also know that that Kaiser with the AP damage is going to be a hell of a pain to deal with. TheShy, I mean, look, we're getting the POV for this one of him just kiting it out and I guess holding on to that last vital.
Yeah, holding on to that last vital for dear life. YSKM just cannot proc it. And I've got to say, quite unlucky on the timing of the Q there from YSKM to not proc that final vital, but either way, TheShy played it perfectly as well. I think he's giving YSKM 0 points for his ability to find those last couple of vitals. Really, really good stuff. And again, YSKM, he is still very strong, right? He's at 2 items, but now TheShy has Thorn Mail. That's a lot of extra reflective damage back in YSKM's face for every bit of damage that he deals. So that's definitely going to curb his power for a little while, perhaps until he makes that 3rd item.
Well, at least we're going to see it in action around the next Dragon because that's sole point. That's what Weibo need to stave off. As we said, IG in such a great position because of how this comp works, because of how important side lanes are, and the fact that they've got control of where Weibo have to be for this objective. Even now, starting off the Baron, Jamada, right before it, trying to draw Weibo in. This is kind of blind, and Weibo need to get here quick smart.
Yeah, they've got that blue wall down, so they know it's happening. Do IG flip everything on this is the question.
I mean, the flank, TP, Meganar. Okay, Crisp has been spotted out. IG are trying to catch him out. Crisp is dancing around. They walk away from Baron, but they did draw in the TP. And even Xiaohu, this is Wink by himself, whirling death on top of that. He's jumped on, but not dead, not forgotten. Tianzhen trying his Cryine's angle with the flank. Beautiful stuff. Lights caught out. Wink with another hook. IG, Invictus Gaming, where have you been? Play like this more, man. You would have made playoffs.
Spring IG, how we've missed you and how you've taken way too long to come back. We're not going to see another match that matters for them personally until 2024. Sad moment. bit bittersweet. But right now, they are taking on Weibo wholeheartedly. We've got the Baron. They should have this soul as well by the time we get out of the replay. And this teleport, plus the hook out of vision, so good. Xiaohu just doesn't have the opportunity to react. By the time that Weibo members are here to try and defend this play, it's already too late, right? Tianzhen almost one-shots Xiaohu there, but then you've got Cryin, finds a two-man knock-up, and then the follow-up is so easy. Wisecam can attack the backline, tangle barbs as well, two members, a hook where Arn can then isolated cash in again. Yeah, everything just falls perfectly for them. Weibo have no answer.
How good is it? I mean, look, Weibo getting caught out with their pants down, but ultimately, I think IG just kind of invented the no pants party. This has been a beautiful rendition of the best kind of play that we've seen from them all split season. And while my statement there should never have been said, ultimately it just means that IG are impressing us. Now to 1v2 the Wisecam, can he do the same as Grand Challenge going to be issued? Weiwei looking for the ulti, but it's riposted, flashed away from. Wisecam will use a bit to get out as Weibo try and find at least something in this game, but ultimately they still lose a turret for that play.
Exactly. And they're losing another one on the bottom side, so I mean, this game feels pretty done and dusted. All right, I don't want to, you know, after watching the JDG series before this one, you know, I'm gonna hold my breath. But this is also a 10,000 gold difference, so the likelihood of Weibo coming back pretty damn slim, as IG have, for all intents and purposes, put on a clinic in this game number one.
Yep.
They've been really on the ball with their execution, as picture in picture him again. SKM and TheShy duking it out. They'll get the inhibitor IG on the bottom side of the map. And with a minute left on this Baron, they can just transition over here to the mid lane and just sit here and probably take that tower just because of how low it is. It's already below half HP. They can certainly look for a siege or even maybe a dive if they actually see the angle for it.
Paranoia makes it so. A 2-item Nocturne with stopwatch makes it very easily so, as Tianzhen now waiting it out. As you mentioned, that dive, and that's rolling in shortly as inhibitor turret's going to be dropping down. IG pacing their way into the mid lane, and Xiaohu buffering that hook. Very well done as Wink gets low. Wisecam as well. That's the ulti from Light. Wants to make a play. Onto Wink. They do find one as Paranoia going to be used, but it's a little bit late as Wisecam brings him in. But Tianzhen somehow makes it all okay. Cryin as well with the recovery. And IG, just when you thought they were out, Arn walking forward brings them back in. Cryin with the one-man ulti, but it's onto TheShy, who can't survive the damage of Arn, who only goes forward. This is the 80 carry I was promised at the start of spring. 7-1-7 on the Draven against TheShy. A blast from the past, and Weibo Gaming are sent to the mast for game number one. IG, kissing my fingers for the chef after that performance.
That was excellent. Excuse Pupper in the background, but I mean, I feel like TheShy must have just like, he just got a taste of his own medicine.